No matter how glamorous it may seem, any job is still a job, and at the end of the day there are still going to be tedious parts that you don't enjoy doing.
Andy, I need you to approve this video about the top 7 sexiest Sonic fan arts.
Not today though. This is one of the good days. What's aggravating though is when a video game seems like it's going to be an epic adventure full of drama, action and intrigue before you sit down and play it and realise, hey, this is just a glorified job, what gives? Yes. Oh, hi again. Please watch on for 7 epic sounding games that are really just glorified jobs, and enjoy! Is it possible to be too sexy? No.
If you're at all a sci-fi fan, you'll have daydreamed about the idea of exploring a brand new planet. Perhaps you fantasized about discovering hitherto unknown life forms, scaling colossal undiscovered mountains, or, I don't know, Captain Kirking your way to a new alien paramour?
You make a compelling argument.
Oh, I'm just getting started.
Good job there wasn't an existential threat to all life in the galaxy going on at the time, or anything. What you're probably not fantasizing about is a job running a factory only in space. There are factories right here on Earth, and get this, you can even get paid for running them. Satisfactory, released this year, somehow turns that concept into a successful video game. The initial part of the game is reminiscent of No Man's Sky as you get your bearings in your new environment. By the end though, you'll have constructed a fabulously complex automated factory and be ensuring that it ticks along reliably rather than, for example, getting tangled up in a thrilling intergalactic conflict. You loved Mass Effect? Get ready for, mass production? And yet somehow, in spite of a premise that sounds more boring than a ringside seat at the World Paint Drying Championships, Satisfactory debuted to absolutely glowing reviews, and is likely to feature heavily in Game of the Year lists. All of this is starting to make us wonder whether factory bosses here on Earth are hiding the greatest secret of all time, and we should all quit our jobs and work in a factory. Wild. In the context, naming the game Satisfactory is starting to look like an understatement.
Typically, if you're playing a game set in a war, you're on the front lines doing all the running, the shooting, and if I'm playing, the getting tragically exploded.
Clear the ramp!
As if I didn't dislike Nazis enough already. But while the focus in most World War II games is the sort of Hollywood spectacle of frontline combat, there's a lot of other jobs that need to be done to keep the war effort going. You know that bit in Call of Duty's Russian campaign where they don't have a spare gun for you and they just hand you ammunition and tell you to pick up a gun off a dead guy? That's because you really need someone doing the also heroic if less dramatic job of making the guns. You just never see that bit because everyone wants to watch Saving Private Ryan and not Private Ryan makes guns for 2 hours in relative safety. Enter PC game Foxhole, which is arguably the most ambitious war game ever made. Every single person you see in the game is a real player, and while you can indeed play the game as a frontline soldier dodging bullets and shooting other real players, the game encompasses a huge number of roles in the war. That includes manufacturing supplies and the logistics required to move those supplies around the battlefield. Some people will literally spend thousands of hours in virtual warfare simply ensuring that enough weapons and ammunition make it to the frontline troops, and these jobs are absolutely pivotal in the constantly online, massively multiplayer conflict that is going on. Whatever you're doing, Foxhole will give you a new appreciation for those unsung heroes of the war effort. Which is why I'll be pitching my screenplay, Private Ryan Spends the Entire War Assembling Shipping Crates, to Spielberg. Stephen, call me.
Okay, what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna sit 10K off a target, we're gonna blap it really quick, and then we're gonna warp to the run spot. Does that make sense? Yep. Outstanding.
EVE Online is an enormously popular game, now in its 21st year, which boasts a 10 million user player base and even its own fan fest held every year in Iceland. But if you've never played it before, it's easy to be mistaken about what kind of game it is.
Ooh, kart racer.
I mean, not that mistaken. What the hell? What you'd probably think is that EVE Online is a space-themed persistent world MMORPG full of exploration, mining, and combat, and for some players, I'm sure it is just that.
So I'm carrying 100 times more than my ship is worth. There were some pirates chasing me. This one guy chasing me through like 5 different systems.
For a lot of players, however, EVE Online is one of the most complex and fully featured virtual financial markets there is, leading to a large proportion of the player base ignoring the space part of the game entirely to focus on becoming full-time traders in the game. Its systems are so realistic, in fact, that they can be used to model real-world economic systems more effectively than many models used by financial institutions and governments. EVE's developer CCP even became the first game developer to hire an economist, who was previously Dean of the Faculty of Business and Science at the University of Akureyri to oversee EVE's in-game economy. Interviews with the developers have revealed the game's economy was derived from the Nasdaq, and the game's trading system lists historic prices for commodities just like a stock exchange. As a result, it's possible to make enormous sums of ISK, the in-game currency, through trading commodities on this market, which can completely do away with the need for players to earn a lot less money the traditional way by doing missions and actually, playing the game.
There is often a gap in price between buy and sell orders, and the savvy trader can use this to turn a profit, simply by buying low and selling high, using the difference between buy and sell orders. Market trading in this way can be profitable, but watch your taxes and broker fees, as updating your orders too often can eat into your profit margins.
The other kicker is that the financial markets in EVE aren't regulated in any way, meaning players are free to engage in activity that is risky or even illegal in the real world, like shorting the market, forming illegitimate banks, or even creating Ponzi schemes if they want, as that's all part of the fun according to CCP. Is the fun not supposed to be the exciting spaceship battles?
Decloak, torpedoes on the Dominics.
I wouldn't know. I invested all my money into an intergalactic Ponzi scheme, and now I'm too poor to buy a spaceship.
When Hideo Kojima first announced Death Stranding, he described it as the world's first Strand-type game. What does that mean? There's simply no way of knowing. What we did know was that the game was from Hideo Kojima, the legendary developer responsible for the Metal Gear series, and starred a veritable galaxy of Hollywood stars, including Guillermo del Toro, Mads Mikkelsen, Margaret Qualley, Léa Seydoux, and in the title role, Norman Reedus, playing a man called Sam Porter Bridges. Also, it involved some sort of weird baby. Maybe that's the strand he keeps talking about. The world of the game seemed really cool as well, full of mystery, danger, and, yes, Mads Mikkelsen. What you actually did in all of this was something of a mystery, but did it really matter when the trailers looked like this? Then the game came out and everyone actually played Death Stranding and realised that while it does take place in a world that has experienced a cataclysmic event that has left monsters wandering all over, it is, at its heart, an Amazon delivery driver simulator. Your main goal in the game is to deliver supplies to various hard-to-reach cities and connect them to a communication system called the Chiral Network. While it's still interesting, a lot of the minute-to-minute gameplay of Death Stranding is not what most people would describe as exciting, and it does involve a lot more losing your balance and falling down hills than you might have guessed from the cutscene-heavy early previews. Exactly as much Norman Reedus urination as we were promised, though.
Democracy. Our way of life. Oh, hello. But freedom doesn't come free. No! Sweet liberty! No!
Frantic, jingoistic sci-fi shooter Helldivers 2 is enormously popular, thanks to its satisfying shooting, hilarious violent chaos, and the ability to name your ship stupid things. So yes, it's easy to have a good time with Helldivers 2. That is, until you realise that the entire game is essentially a huge, bombastic, spectacular skin for a glorified pest exterminator job.
Bag's empty.
You can dress it up all you want, Helldivers 2, but there's no denying the fact that the main action of your game is going somewhere with a pest problem, killing the bugs, and then destroying the nests so that they don't come back.
Throwing grenade.
You'll notice that this is quite similar to the job of a pest exterminator, albeit with a little more death, sometimes due to the bugs, most of the time due to each other.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Mike!
I was testing out my new gun.
No!
It's fine. Look, hold on.
No, I'm in bits.
And yes, there are robots in Helldivers 2, but that's just another clever ruse to make you think that what you're doing is playing an exciting sci-fi shooter instead of doing the video game equivalent of quietly and methodically filling an anthill with liquid insecticide. For the glory of raised pest control! I mean, Super Earth. You're not fooling anyone, Helldivers.
At first glance, State of Decay 2 appears to be an epic survival game in which the goal is to weather an undead apocalypse, living by your wits and smashing zombie heads.
How about you?
Play it for a while, however, and you'll soon realise that the zombies are kind of a secondary concern, taking a back seat to the much more pressing business of State of Decay 2, managing a settlement of people, like some kind of post-apocalyptic summer camp counsellor.
Work together to defend it from the terror.
While you might go into it looking to spend a fun few hours running over zombies with your car, truly the real end goal of a State of Decay game is constructing the full-service survivalist compound of, if not yours, then at least someone's dreams.
I build, so shelter tops my list.
The range of facilities you can install inside the cozy confines of your base offer various benefits to your community, but those facilities also need constant attention so they don't break down. Great news then, you can leave your bases to be run by survivors with the right skills. Except that it's also your job to develop each survivor's skills for the benefit of your community and look after the relationships between each of your unique survivors.
You have to be tough enough to know when to give and when to take away.
Your duties as post-apocalyptic HR manager also include picking out community leaders. You can promote your fave survivors to leadership roles by following their advice and completing their goals, which is probably about the point that you realise that you've pivoted entirely from grizzled zombie survivalist to human resources manager.
So what do you have to offer?
Well, if you didn't have a weapons expert, you do now.
Anyway, tough week coming up ahead at the camp. Clive has his annual review and we've received some complaints about Helen's management style. Oh, and Dave got eaten by a horde of the undead. No! Always a shame when that happens. I'll send an email round about organising some flowers.
The basic premise of Animal Crossing New Horizons is that of an idyllic island getaway, in which players can forget their worries and just enjoy crafting furniture and being judged by an animal wearing clothes. One day I'll win their approval. One day. And indeed, in the early stages of New Horizons, that does seem to be the case. You're given clear goals and the means with which to achieve them, like opening a shop, extending your house, or founding a museum to display the fish and fossils you gather on your daily excursions. But once the early main objectives are taken care of, here's the thing that nobody talks about when they talk about Animal Crossing. You become a full-time farmer. That's because the long-term objectives in Animal Crossing all seemingly revolve around a thorough and meticulous dedication to agriculture. Firstly, you'll need to visit other islands to gather fruit so that you can grow different fruit trees on your island. Get heavily into flower hybridization to create new colours of flowers. And if you want to become financially secure, you will have to invest a substantial amount of time into becoming a savvy turnip trader.
expertly timing your sale for when the turnip market hits its peak.
And your ultimate goal, the symbol that your island has reached the coveted 5-star rating, is a flower, known as Lily of the Valley, the rarest bloom of all, that can't be grown via any other means. So yeah, Animal Crossing tricked me into becoming a farmer. Am I mad about it? You look at my incredible pumpkin patch and you tell me.
Oh, hi. Yeah, thanks for watching this video about games that sound epic but are basically just glorified jobs. We've got other ones, we've got videos if you want to watch either of those. Subscribe.